It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning and welcome to Wednesday Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 15th day of February 2023. Coming to you from Bedford County, Central Virginia area. Headlines today: Vow Renewal at Sea. Cruise Center opens in Tampa. Carnival refines itineraries on 4 more ships. MSC increases presence in Spain. Monterey bans cruise ships. Valletta, the best cruise port globally. And an overboard crewman rescued in Argentina. That and lots more live here at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, of course. Today, folks, is National Gumdrop Day. Not my favorite. As a matter of fact, probably one of my least favorites. I'm not much of a candy person as a general rule. So, I have lots of bad habits. Candy's just not one of them. But gumdrops, I can take them or leave them. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. To search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the old fat travel guy. Anytime that you're listening and want to hop over to the video feed in case you want to check out, pictures or clips or something that we're using on that day's show, there's always a link in the description to access the video feed. We do have some couple things to chat about before we get to the news today. Although I don't have a guest today, but I was kind of hoping to do that. But tomorrow we're going to try to get our friend Bethany on. We'll talk about her in just a second. Meanwhile, my friend Tanja and Dwayne, they're down under. And they went to the Mystery Island, Vanuatu. And this was a fire walker there on Vanuatu. Now, what I don't know if Tanja was just having her picture taken with the dude, or if she actually got out and walked on fire. So that will be a question for her to answer when she's on next week on the Carnival Splendor, I think, anyway, whenever she's on next. She's going to be on several more times down under, as long as we can get a connection. And then tomorrow we're going to talk to our friend Bethany. Bethany celebrated the Valentine's Day yesterday. Little rose at dinner, some Valentine desserts, and there might have been an adult beverage or two involved. Yesterday they were in Santos, Brazil. These are a couple of pictures of the Brazilian coast. Santos in the background. And she went out to an actual ranch in La Rabida, Uruguay, which is right there on the border between Uruguay and Brazil. But this was an actual, honest to goodness, ranch. Cattle and horses and whatnot. They had a big old-fashioned Uruguay barbecue while she was there. They also went out on a big tractor riding around showing them the ranch. And this was apparently a pretty big ranch because it was a pretty good ride to the beach, which they rode right out on the beach on the tractor and got out and dangled their toes in the water. Bethany did say it was hot. Man, was it hot. And that's, we'll have to ask her what this is because I'm not sure. If I was guessing, I'd say that's probably some kind of a sweet potato down there toward the bottom. And beyond that, I'm not sure what it was actually that she was eating. But anyway, a Uruguayan barbecue, that would be interesting, at least to me. And they had horses there as well. They gave them a demonstration on saddling and so forth. She didn't get to ride, but they had a demonstration on care of the horses and so forth on the ranch. And really a lot about the life of a gaucho. Of course, a gaucho is a cowboy down in South America. And one other thing before we actually get to the news today, my buddy Sylvia, my co-ambassador for Will Power Chairs, Sylvia represented Will Power Chairs down in Orlando at a big conference down there. That was yesterday as well. So congratulations to Sylvia out earning the bacon for Will Power Chairs. Of course, you guys all know my feelings about Will Power Chairs and about Scoot Around. Speaking of that, I'll be back after this.
Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scoot Around. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scoot Around for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise.
And of course, Sylvia uses a Will Power Chair, so she obviously is way better talking about the power chair than I am. And I use Scoot Around on all my cruises. All right, we'll get to the news after a real quick word from one of our network sponsors. All right, we're going to lead off today with a record-setting vow renewal at sea. A Carnival Cruise Line celebrated love on Valentine's Day with the cruise line's largest ever vow renewal at sea taking place fleetwide with thousands of couples symbolically renewing their vows with Chief Fun Officer Shaquille O'Neal virtually officiating the ceremony. Now, I would think a renewal of vows would take somebody ordained or something, wouldn't it? I guess Shaquille is ordained as the fun officer for Carnival. So celebrations included onboard receptions and are a great way for cruise-loving couples to spend Valentine's Day together, along with other onboard fun for February the 14th. And the kind of neat thing about it is Sonja and Dwayne renewed their vows. They were on, of course, Carnival Luminosa down there in, there's a Kissy Kissy on Carnival Luminosa, and that would have been yesterday morning. That was probably, they were between Brisbane and Mystery Island. So congratulations to Tanja and Dwayne Sin for their vow renewal, and all the other couples that took part in vow renewals. All right, we jumped down to Tampa. I like Tampa a lot. I enjoyed sailing out of there. Been out of there twice now. Port Tampa has recently opened a new Seafarers Center outpost, offering a wide range of support and services to international cruise ship workers visiting the port. The center, located in Cruise Terminal 3, will serve as a hub for package and mail delivery, short-term accommodations, recreational opportunities, provide free Wi-Fi and communication services to the workers, and medical care and legal aid assistance, and a free clothes closet. The center also offers a small convenience store and a place for workers to connect and socialize. The aim of Seafarers Centers is to support the well-being of cruise ship workers and offer a supportive community while they are away from home. So congratulations to the community and to Tampa for getting the center open there in Terminal 3. All right, Carnival, and this has been in the news, in my opinion, folks, this has been in the news way too much lately. And it's not just Carnival. But Carnival is continuing to refine, as they call it, upcoming itineraries for 4 more vessels, with a total of 8 sailings. But these are all minor changes, nothing major. The first of the cruises to be changed is not setting sail until November. In December 23rd of this year, sailing on Carnival Spirit, the ship was to have visited Princess Key, Nassau, and Freeport, but will now replace Princess Key with Bimini. The order of the ports has also been reversed. 5 itineraries have been adjusted on Carnival Freedom, all sailing from Port Canaveral. 3 different types of changes impact these cruises. November 20th, 2023, port order reversed and port time slightly modified. December 4th, 2023, port order reversed and port time slightly modified. January 2nd, 2024, visiting Bimini instead of Princess Key with a slight port time change. March 30th, 2024, port order reversed and port time slightly modified. And finally, June 8th, 2024, visiting Half Moon Cay instead of Princess Key with slight changes in port times. Only 1 cruise has changed for Carnival Vista, a 6-night Eastern Caribbean sailing from Port Canaveral, departing on March 3rd, 2024. For this one voyage, the ship will now be visiting Princess Key rather than Half Moon Cay as originally planned. Even the XL Class Mardi Gras is not exempt from itinerary changes, as guests on the March 29th, 2025 are being notified. The change for the 7-night exotic Eastern Caribbean sailing is minimal, simply reversing the order of ports of call from the original planned route. Do you suppose the main reason that they do this kind of silliness is so people like me will talk about it and give them some free advertising? I don't know. It just seems like terribly poor planning when you just publish a schedule and all of a sudden you have to start get the eraser out. And it's not just Carnival. It just happens to be the story today. Royal Caribbean's done it. Norwegian's done it. I don't remember MSC doing it. But anyway, I don't know. I don't get it. Speaking of MSC, Spanish ports will figure prominently in the MSC itineraries in 2023. when its ships will make more than 500 calls at popular destinations, including Barcelona, Valencia, Alicante, Malaga, Cadiz, and Tarragona. Cruise line's focus on Spain follows double-digit growth in the Spanish market last year and includes the home porting of the new mega ship MSC World Europa in Barcelona this summer. And of course, our friend Pete is on. He was on World Europa. He's on another cruise now. I need to get Pete back on the show to talk about several things. All right, Monterey, California, the city council voted last week to terminate passenger landing services for incoming cruise ships. The council sent a message that cruise ships were no longer welcome in Monterey. Monterey's council voted 3-2 to terminate city services to process disembarking cruise passengers. Ships continue to be allowed to drop anchor in the bay and take travelers to the shore via tender. However, cruise companies will have to hire staff at the port to process guests at the public dock. Monterey's not going to do it anymore. City officials says they hope the decision would lead cruise lines to stop calling at Monterey Bay, which was home to one of the largest U.S. natural maritime sanctuaries. CLIA President and CEO Kelly Craighead argued in a letter to the council that cruise ship operations were tightly regulated with rigorous enforcement by authorities, including the U.S. Coast Guard. She said their cruise line members set a high bar for themselves, and they attested to the following policy for practices related to shipboard safety, security, environmental stewardship, and more, which often exceed requirements of international law. According to Craighead, clear research showed passengers spend an average of $125 per shore visit in the United States. The port city has no power to ban liners from docking in the bay. Monterey has 7 to 12 visits per year. No liners have called at the port since the COVID crisis began. 3 calls are scheduled in March, beginning with Discovery Princess on March the 14th. Monterey Bay is a seasonal port of call, largely on voyages to Alaska and Mexico. And this one I found a little bit strange. Valletta was named, I don't know if it was named or chosen, would probably be the better verb, was chosen as the best port of call globally, but by Spanish-speaking cruisers. The honor was announced during the FITUR Madrid 2023. In 2022, Valletta Cruise Port welcomed 529,000 passenger movements, with 35,000 passenger movements coming specifically from Spain, not to mention other Spanish-speaking guests hailing from other countries. It is indeed a pleasure to see our guests recognizing Valletta Cruise Port's efforts together with those of other key stakeholders in making their visit to our city a memorable experience, so said a spokesman from Global Ports Holding, the CEO of Valletta Cruise Port, Stephen Zarib. As a part of the Global Ports Holding network, our trajectory is not only one of growth, but one of ensuing operational excellence. The honor comes as a result of an international survey conducted on cruise satisfaction by Spanish-speaking cruise travelers. The participants had the chance to vote for their favorite cruise line, ship, and port experiences during the previous year, as well as their reasons for those votes. And finally this morning, and this one ended up as being good news, a 59-year-old Filipino crew member went overboard from Penant's expedition cruise ship La Lirial while the vessel was moored at the port in Ushuaia, Argentina. The ship's officers requested assistance from the rescue teams after the crew member fell into the water while securing the gangway as the vessel completed the mooring procedure. The crew member was successfully recovered by rescue swimmers from the Prefectural Rescue and Fire Protection Station, Argentine Maritime Authority, who responded to the incident, I guess you'd call it, and rescued the crew member, who did have a life jacket on, thankfully, because down there in Ushuaia, Argentina, even in the middle of the summer, that water's cold. According to authorities, the man suffered some minor injuries, was transferred to the hospital where he was examined and remained under observation for his recovery. All right, that wraps up the news portion today. So let's go over and see who's fussing at me in the chat room today. Yo, Brooklyn in the house. Eddie's with us. Hi, Eddie. Cindy's here. Mike's here. The Mask Collector's here. Good to see you again from parts unknown. Dennis is with us. Everybody's saying hello back and forth. There's Melissa. Melissa's out in Arizona. Happy Wednesday from Melissa. Thank you, Miss Melissa. It's been 10 days since you and I were on a ship together. We got to do something about that, Melissa. I have so much fun with Melissa. And her better half. I enjoyed Jay a lot too. So Dennis says I'm not a gum chewer either. Chewing gum is not sold at the Disney parks because Walt knew better. Good for him. I think a vow renewal is just celebratory. It's not legally binding. I'm pretty sure of that. I just found it interesting that Shaq is officiating over this whole thing all around the globe. Anyway, I found that a little humorous, but I understand the folks who were on the ship. So anyway, Eddie's saying hello to everybody. Nikki's with us. Hi, Nick. Unfortunately, Tampa has a bridge can accommodate the larger ships. Yeah, I don't know. And I've been under that bridge now 4 times. I have yet to be out on the bridge. I mean, out on the deck of the ship when we go under the bridge, so I can film it. Twice it's happened to me when I'm in the dining room. Obviously, the first time, I had no idea when we passed under the bridge. That was the first time I sailed from Tampa. I didn't know how long it took. And then the next time I was in a group at dinner, and so I didn't want to miss that. And then coming in twice was in the middle of the night. So I have yet, and even one of those, I got up on deck to try to film it at 4:00 in the morning, and we were 10 minutes past it. So I missed out on that one too. One of these days I'll be up there to sail under that bridge, because I will sail out of Tampa again, even on smaller ships. I like the port. And there's still a couple ships that sail out of there that haven't been on. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be in the future. Justin's with us. Hi, Mr. Bucket List. Good to have you back in the house. Princess Keys, plural because it's just the name of their day beach club. It's not their own private island. No, it's not. Dennis says Malta. Yes, that's correct. Valletta has a rich history. I've never been to Valletta. I believe I think my 2025 cruise might stop there. My transatlantic. That for the southern port is often used for embarking Antarctic expeditions. Yeah, Ushuaia. And see, Dennis, you ought to be feel good about the fact that I pronounced it correctly. I looked it up and made sure I was saying it right. Also with Vanuatu. I looked up both of those today and made sure I said them right. Carol's with us. Hi, Carol. Melissa says, counting down to my next cruise, 100 days. Cindy says, Malta 2024, can't wait. Yep. I get to see Janie soon. Yes, I get to see Janie in a week now. It's a week from today, tomorrow. 15/7/22. Yeah, I leave today, a week from today, and drive up to Baltimore. And then tomorrow, I'll get to see Jane. So looking forward to that. And Kevin. You know, I'll have two pals on this little 8-day excursion. There's Martine, too. Hi, Martine. Good to see you again. That's absolutely wonderful. These are Jane and Martine and Melissa. They were all my eating companions on the breakaway. Glad to have you guys in the house. Mass Collector says, all things being equal, pricing and itineraries, what ships would you consider your favorites and why? Ooh, boy. I have to think on that one. I actually really liked the breakaway. It had more things that were in my area of concern that they did well. So that helped a lot. However, that would not be considered a price. It's not, it was a pricey cruise. But then it was a special cruise too. So if I want to consider everything, well, probably Symphony of the Seas from Royal Caribbean. I got a terrific deal. It was a wonderful ship. The food was outstanding. The service terrific. That happened to be one that I stayed in a suite, which was new to me. I'd have to put Symphony up there at the top. Let me think. I go back to the Zider Dam before the pandemic. That was actually turned out to be one of my favorite ships. And that was because the food was just out of this world. The Holland American ship, it was reasonably priced in those days for solo cruiser, which was hard to find as well. But I really like that ship a lot. I almost did the Zider Dam once this year and ended up doing a different Holland America ship. So those would be two of my favorites. Now, I would also say that very rarely do I totally not like a ship. I am generally happy on every cruise that I'm on. Even some that are just trash for accessibility issues, like, for instance, Margaritaville at Sea, Paradise, who was the worst ship I've ever been on for accessibility issues, but it had a fantastic vibe. The food was good. The entertainment was terrific. The people were were friendly and accommodating, but it's just the accessibility thing sucked. Still, there were things about the cruise that I liked. So, yeah, that's a really tough question for me because generally, as long as I'm on the water, on a boat, I'm pretty happy. Martine, question: are small ships accessible friendly? Generally, no. There are a few, like the new American river ships, some of the like the paddle wheelers and so that have accessible cabins now in the U.S. market, but they have like one accessible cabin on the entire ship. Now, before anybody gets totally upset over that, there's a logical reason behind that. And not that I agree with this one at all, but let's say on a Norwegian ship that has 40 accessible cabins around the ship. That's 1% of their total cabins. Well, you take some of the smaller ships that have like 100 cabins. That's 1% of the space given to accessible cabins as well. So there is at least some relation to it. But many of the smaller ships, Martine, are not friendly for accessible issues. So we're working on it. We're going to get there eventually. But that's going to take some time. And it's going to take some redesigning ships. I mean, even some of the big ships. I was on Seascape, a brand new ship. I was on its inaugural cruise. And it had some things they did right, but some things they did so totally wrong on accessibility issues that goes back to the design. The people that design the ship don't have a clue about wheelchair or scooter guests. Or they wouldn't do things like calling an accessible restroom one that you have to fight with the door to get inside. It would be an automatic door to make it accessible. I mean, that's one of the things that I fuss about the most. And the good news about Malta is there's a McDonald's. There's a McDonald's in Malta. I'll have to go visit that. The best part of the breakaway was the people. Yeah, that helped as well because it was, we had some fun on Malta. That was for sure. I agree with you about Symphony. I loved it, and the price was great. Odyssey was amazing too. I haven't done Odyssey yet. That's one that's still on my list, Justin. But yeah, Symphony, for the bigger ships, Symphony, I think, was probably my favorite. Martine agrees with Melissa. Thanks for the insightful response. I don't know how insightful I am, ever am, Mass Collector, but I'll always tell you what I think, good, bad, or indifferent. Dennis says, definitely avoid older ships for accessibility requirements. I hope you reach out to CLIA regarding accessibility compliance. Yes, we've already done that. We are working with CLIA. Cindy says, I love the breakaway getaway class for Norwegian. Been on those multiple times. Carnival Horizon is my favorite, and Royal Caribbean Oasis class are the best. And that's Cindy is like me. It's hard for Cindy not to be pleased as long as she's on a ship. So we have that in common. All right, guys, that's going to end me up today. Most of you know that yesterday I went to the oncologist. I have not given you a report. There was movement on my PSA from a quarter ago. At that time, my PSA, now remember, folks, my PSA one time was 480. My PSA last month was 0.6. My PSA yesterday was 0.1. That's pretty low. Of course, unfortunately, if it ever gets to 0.0, then I think the little feller falls off or something. Something's bound to happen. I don't know what. All right, that's going to wrap me up for today. I get to go sit in the dentist chair for 3 hours this afternoon, technically, in the periodontist chair. I'm not looking forward to that. And another damn big bill. I hate that. I'm still sucking air from the plumbing bill. Hey, vey. Now I get to go with a dental bill too. So, all right, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. We also got Cruise Amigos tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock my time. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today, folks. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. And hopefully one day soon, we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a fabulous day. See everybody tomorrow.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.